All right, so we're good. Are we live? I think we are. Hello all and welcome back to the Football Chat Live. Tonight we have yet more international action as England welcome Belgium to Wembley. Another chance to prepare for the Euros 2024 in Germany. I'm very excited for the tournament. We're only 3 months away now. So it's very crucial that in games like tonight, England are looking comfortable, looking confident and getting those wins over the line. But it should be a good one this evening. As I say, very exciting match this should be. Belgium, they're a little bit of a shadow of their former selves. They've come out of that golden generation. Your Hazards, Alderweireld's, Vertonghen's, Prime Lukaku. Players like that aren't there anymore or are older now. But they're still a decent nation. They're still a tough opponent. They're still going to provide England with a challenge this evening that is going to be difficult to overcome. And for England, I mean, Saturday was a disappointment. I feel like that weakened Brazil side was definitely beatable and we didn't provide a win there. And so tonight, we have to win, really, for me. I mean, if we go into the Euros, into the next few months, off the back of 2 losses, I think the feeling around England's going to be a lot worse, a lot more poorly recepted than if we are to win tonight. So we're good to win tonight. I think the team selection is very interesting. We'll get into that in just a minute. In fact, you know what? We'll do it now. We are, of course, at Wembley, as I've mentioned, and the home side are England, and their team is as follows. It's a 4-2-3-1 for England this evening. In between the sticks, it's Jordan, Pickford, back 4, Konza, Dunk, Stones, and Ben Chilwell. In the pivot, it's Kobe Mainoo making his first England start alongside captain Declan Rice. I should say it's Konza's first start as well. Then across the 3, Bowen, Jude Bellingham and Phil Foden, with Ivan Toney leading the line. There's some big calls in here. Firstly, we have Toney starting, which is big. I think that's warranted from him. And it's clear Southgate's quite a big fan of Ivan Toney because he stuck with him throughout that ban. And the fact he hasn't turned to a Dominic Solanke in the last few months shows he's really putting his faith in Toney to be that third choice. I think that makes sense going into an international tournament because he offers you something really different from Watkins and Kane. And I think, no disrespect to Solanke, but Toney's a bit more at that elite level. Solanke's done incredible this season, but it's one season and there's not a whole lot to see there. Yes, he scored a lot of goals and Bournemouth played very good football, but it doesn't really show that he's got those qualities that make someone an elite striker. I also find quite interesting that Cole Palmer hasn't really got a look in. I mean, you'd like to hope he gets off the bench today. But as a Chelsea fan, I find it frustrating that we've let him go out on international duty. Southgate's taken him on international duty, and he didn't even get on the bench for the first game, and now he doesn't start for the second game. So what was the point? Because he's not played any football yet, and he won't until about, at least half time, you'd imagine, unless there's an injury. So I don't get it. I really don't get it from Southgate. I get, maybe he wants to include him in the squad, but to not even give him a minute feels ridiculous to me. But Foden starts again this evening. I think that shows he will probably start at the Euros, which is a good sign because Southgate's been known to bench Phil Foden in recent seasons, which is a terrible idea. Play him, he's brilliant. But I do think it's weird that Cole Palmer doesn't play. I think he's a brilliant player, deserves those minutes. He's been excellent for Chelsea this season. One of the best young players in all of Europe, let alone the Premier League. So don't really understand why he doesn't get many minutes this evening. The rest of the squad, I think Chilwell's in there for necessity, not because he's not really on merit. I don't think he's had a very good season at all. But who else is fit at left back right now? I mean, unless you're going to play Levi Colwill out of position, but even he's, I think, got a knock at the moment. I believe he does. Then you've got Luke Shaw, who's been injured all season. And after that, I don't really know. For me, going into the Euros, I'd be looking at playing a right back, left back, and getting them to invert into midfield or something like that. So, you look at Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think he could even look at Trippier at the Euros. I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, I've waffled enough about the England side. Let's have a look at the Belgium team then. It's heavily rotated, actually, from the side that Belgium drew to Ireland with, which is further reason we have to win tonight. Because if we lose to a side that drew with Ireland, that is embarrassing. But in between 6, it is Matt Sells, the goalkeeper at Nottingham Forest. In the back 4, Castagna, De Bast, Vertonghen and Arta Tiate. In the midfield 3, it's Yuri Tielemans. He's the only one who keeps his spot in that midfield 3 as Amadou Onana and Oral Mangala both come in. On the right flank, it's Jeremy Doku. On the left flank, Leandro Trossard. And through the middle, it's the captain, Romelu Lukaku. A very good side for Belgium. As I say, a little bit of rotation in there. I know that Johan Bakayoko played in the Ireland game. Thomas Vermeeren, Louis Openda. Arthur Vermeeren, not Thomas. Astor Ranks, De Winter. So there's a lot of change in that side from what we're seeing in this team. But I think this is definitely a stronger team. Jan Vertonghen comes in, which isn't a great sign for Belgium that they view him to be one of their stronger players given his age. But yeah, it's interesting. Anyway, message in chat. Welcome if you are tuning in. Lewis Bush says, up the Villa, where's your clone? Unfortunately, Harry's not here this evening. Just me in the studio tonight. As it tends to be on Tuesday nights, Harry is at football. He won't join us throughout the stream. In fact, say he might join us. He definitely won't. But should be a good one regardless. So get involved in the live chat this evening since it is only me here in the studio. And yeah, hopefully we're tracked to a very exciting game of football. In terms of things to talk about, we have about 8 minutes until kickoff. So let's discuss briefly the Brazil game, because there wasn't a whole lot to talk about. I think England struggled to make anything happen for a lot of the match. We saw some decent passages of play from England, but overall it wasn't a very convincing performance from England at all. And eventually we conceded, and obviously the manner in which we conceded was a little bit stupid, but it's a good. I mean, for Endrick, it's a huge moment, and very intrigued to see where his career goes and how his young shoulders are able to carry the weight and the responsibility right now of potentially the whole Brazilian national side. I mean, they're heralding him as the next Pele. So, yeah, I think that's going to be very interesting to see. As for England, we were very lacklustre, and I think that definitely comes down to Gareth Southgate. Lewis Bush says, "Are you Southgate in?" I wouldn't say I am. I think, though, I definitely wouldn't sack him right now because we are 3 months away from an international tournament. You don't sack a manager 3 months away from an international tournament. I think this summer should be its last. I think anyone entertaining another 2 years of Gareth Southgate is either a Scotland fan or a psychopath. But I think he's done well. No disrespect to him. He's done really well with England. He's took us from a place where we were qualifying for international tournaments, but not really doing a lot. Despite our storied history, we weren't really achieving a lot, to being at a point now where we are considered favourites, or if not second favourites, but we're definitely up there in the conversation this year. So, for me, that's an incredible achievement, and he deserves his plaudits for that. However, I think his time is up, because what he's proven so far in the last two international tournaments, or maybe even, I'd say last two international tournaments, is that he cannot get us over the line in those big games. You know, you look at the Euros final, that game against Italy, we should have won that match. I firmly believe we should have won that match. I don't think that Italy side was particularly strong. And we let that slip in that game. And there was a lot of naive calls from Gareth Southgate. And it all came down tactically in the end. You can't blame players when we sit so deep in that game for so long. And it felt inevitable we were going to concede. In terms of December, actually, I was going to say last summer, but of course it was the Christmas World Cup of 2022. I think we were in a really good position to win that, and while some things didn't go our way in that France game, I feel like we should have really been getting past them, and I think we'd have been a better match in the final to Argentina. Obviously, that was a brilliant final, but I think we would have beaten Argentina in that game. Equally, that whole World Cup seems to be set up for Messi to win it, so I think regardless of what happened, it probably would have been him. Lewis Bush says, I'd keep him if he wins the Euros, but if he doesn't, then he has to go. He plays worse than Mourinho. He plays much worse than Mourinho. Mourinho, while his football might be quite negative at times, is a masterful tactician. And there's clear direction and quality there. That's very different to Southgate. With Southgate, it's naive, it's inexperienced, and it's quite indicative, actually, of international management. I think what we're going to see now, because we're seeing it with Germany and Julian Nagelsmann, is an increased impetus on elite managers in international football. I mean, you look at Julian Nagelsmann and what they're implementing there at Germany. It's not what we see at many other international clubs, because not many try anything interesting tactically, given there's not a whole lot of time with the players. But Nagelsmann's pushing the boat out, and I think they may well be the dark horses of their own tournament, which feels mental, because Germany being dark horses, given their prestige, it feels weird. But I feel like they are, not a lot of people are estimating much or expecting much this summer, but they are a very good team, and they do have a very good manager. So I think that can make a huge difference. But yeah, I think if Southgate wins, it's a perfect time to say, well done, mate. Thank you for your time. Go out on a high. Let's not tarnish that. Let's just, be very happy with the fact it's a win. Lewis Bush says Southgate is pretty much just Ole Gunnar. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting comparison. Obviously, there are some differences. I think Ole Gunnar's better tactically. I think the thing that lets Ole Gunnar down is that man management side of the game, that dealing with players. I think that Southgate is very, very good at motivating players, at cultivating a great atmosphere. And actually, I think if you combine Ole Gunnar and Gareth Southgate, you'd have a half-decent manager. But it's quite interesting you bring up Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, given that Southgate is linked with the United job, which would be hilarious, because that would be very amusing. Nick says, hi Jack, I'm watching Wales tonight. Sorry, that is understandable. I will be keeping tabs on those games. Obviously, we will find out the last 3 sides that will qualify for this summer's Euros. Very excited to see those. We've got 3 matches of those this evening. It's Wales versus Poland, Ukraine versus Iceland, and Georgia versus Greece. So Georgia versus Greece already underway. In fact, that's at a penalty shootout now, of which Georgia are winning 3-2. But both sides have missed a penalty each. It's just that they took first. So that's going to go right down to the wire. It would be incredible to see either of those sides at the Euros. Obviously, you've got a really exciting young Georgia side with players like Vicha Kvaratskhelia, like Georgi Mamardashvili. That's a really strong team and a really promising young national team. And then you've got Greece, who have such a history in the Euros. Obviously, winners of the 2002 edition. And it's always great to see the Greek atmosphere at the European Championships. So that either way, that's going to be really exciting to see one of those sides go through. Then you've got Ukraine-Iceland. I think obviously for the story, you'd love to see Ukraine, but Iceland themselves have huge history in this competition. You think back to the Euros in 2016 where they got all the way to the quarterfinals. There's definitely some history there. And then you've got Wales-Poland. Personally, I don't really care which team goes through. It doesn't really affect me. But I guess Wales would be nice. Would be a nice reflection on the English Isles. Let's get in some predictions though, because we are a minute away from kickoff. I've waffled for far too long, so let's get in some predictions. England-Belgium. This really does feel like a matter of picking a number out of the air and giving that as a prediction, because I don't think there's a whole lot to go on here. I don't really know much about this Belgium side. I can't remember who the manager is. I'm gonna have a look, but I'm not sure. Oh, it's Domenico Tedesco. I thought I recognised him. I just couldn't put a name to the face. Yeah, a good manager. It's an all-right national side. Will Belgium provide much of a threat to England this evening, though? They shouldn't. So I'll say a comfortable 3-0 win for England. Backing the clean sheet, backing the victory. I think we have to take a positive result this evening heading into the Euros. This is our last preparation match. Obviously, before we have the warm-up games just for the Euros, then we have the Euros. But this is our last sort of preparation before we get into those tournament months. So yeah, should be good. Lewis Bush says, it'd be funny if Southgate was hired. I'd say he's mid-table championship quality. Well, I think he proved with Middlesbrough he is, very much, not Premier League quality. But then equally, he's now got experience with the England national side, so those connections, those contacts are going to be huge. I think if he went to United, it would be an all-right fit, because you've got a lot of English players there, but I think there's better fits out there. I think Ten Hag could still be afforded time. If not, you could probably look at someone like Graham Potter, is probably even a better fit than Gareth Southgate. Hope Watkins can go on and get a goal. Yeah, I hope Tony scores as well, to be fair. I haven't done goal scorers, so I'll say, I'll back Ivan Toney. I'll say Jude Bellingham. And I'll go Cole Palmer. If that man doesn't get off the bench, I am throwing hands at Gareth Southgate, because he's took him on international duty, Cole Palmer, and not played him yet. Didn't even put him in the squad for the first game. So if I don't see Cole Palmer starting tonight, getting off the bench tonight, I will be rightfully furious. So Gareth Southgate, there's your warning, mate. Play Cole Palmer. Chelsea fan welcome to the stream, saying, hi Jack, no way Belgium 2-1. Really, Chelsea fan, this side drew with Ireland on Saturday night, and they're not a very strong national side, and you think we're going to lose 2-1. Ever the pessimist, Chelsea fan. Lewis Bush says Mainu looks really promising. I don't know what to think of Kobe Mainu. I think that I agree. Mark Goldbridge actually said this, that he was being overhyped, and a lot of United fans are going, oh no, you're chatting shit, that he's not a real fan, he's just being too reactionary. And while I think the manner in which he delivered that was wrong, I don't think Kobe Mainu is as much as he's made out to be. It's a very similar situation to the likes of Anthony Elanga. And we are underway, by the way, in this game. It's England versus Belgium. And, Kobe Mainu, the player knocking it back. I don't think Kobe Mainu is the finished article yet, and it's going to depend a lot on how he develops. But I think at the moment he looks very good, because he's playing in a very poor Manchester United team. So there's a lot for him to do at the base of midfield or in defensive midfield because you are recovering a lot because the team is very bad. And also I think a lot of it is that he's a huge upgrade on Casemiro or McTominay in there, that he just looks incredible. England, by the way, starting really fast, working the ball down the right-hand side. Jarrod Bowen flashed across into the box, and Tony's acrobatics in there didn't result in a goal. He didn't really catch the ball. In fact, he struck his own arm with his shot, which is not ideal. But fast start for England getting into the box. Chelsea fan says Cole Palmer should have started. Yeah, I agree. I don't really get why Southgate's taken him and then not used him yet. He didn't even get on the bench in the last game. I really don't understand that. Bowman should have won something in their prime, says Lewis. 100%. 100%. I think the 2018 World Cup was a really good opportunity for them. Obviously, they lost the semis there. And then they didn't really turn up at the 2021 Euros. But and it felt like Hazard was actually a bit past it, unfortunately, for them. Lukaku bearing in on goal, by the way, shifts it across. Trossard lifts it back in there. It's over everyone, and Walker will let that go out for a goal kick. But yeah, I agree. I think when you had players like Kevin De Bruyne blossoming, you had Romelu Lukaku in his prime, you had Eden Hazard, you had that strong defensive partnership at club and country level with Jan Vertonghen and Toby Alderweireld. I always think they were a little bit weak at fullback. They never really had any good fullbacks. But they had a good enough team there to make a real good go of a tournament, and they never seemed to do so. But yeah, and I think they're now transitioning into a new era, and it's going to come down to whether players like Johan Bakayoko and Jeremy Doku, first, how do you fit both of them in the same team, develop. You've also got Louis Openda, and I think he's going to be a real talent. You've got players like Amadou Onana. You'd imagine he'll be in the starting berth in this side for the next 5-10 years. So yeah, they've got a good side coming through Belgium. Is it a title-winning side? Probably not, but it's not a bad team. Rice sprays one out wide into Kyle Walker. Lewis Bush says, I thought Elanga was pretty poor at Man United. Yeah, I think a lot of the hype there was because he scored in the Champions League, and I think it's a very similar situation with Kobe Mainoo. I think if you look at a lot of his numbers, they don't paint the most incredible picture. It's just that he looks so good in that team because he's an 18-year-old. He's an 18-year-old playing for Manchester United. Of course, there's going to be hype around him, but I think there is a long way for Mainoo to go. And United will also overuse him because that's what they do with all their talents. So they will play 38 games next season, pick up loads of injuries, and then everyone will call him shit. Anyway. Full votes in the polling chat. Not a whole load of people tuning in this evening. But 75% going for England, 25% going for a draw. So unsurprisingly, the majority with England. That's to be expected in these streams. It's what we usually see. A lot of English viewers. But yeah. Anyway, ball out of play, and that will be a Belgium throw. I think it is a Belgium throw. Yeah, the ref of the Jude Bellingham there with a few words for the linesman. Not happy with that verdict. It'll be Arta Tiate with this throw-in. Youngster at Rennes in France. And while England win it about, but then can't keep it in play. That just get an encouraging clap from Southgate for some reason. But yeah, as I was saying earlier, I think this tournament will be Southgate's last. Even if he wins it, is that not the perfect time to say goodbye? I don't know. For me, that would be. But I guess we'll see. And, very juxtaposing benches, because on one hand, you've got Southgate, who it looks like it'll be the end of his time as England manager. In the other, Domenico Tedesco. Now, Tedesco is a very good young coach. He's 38 at the moment, which is incredible that he's already at international management. His time at RB Leipzig is probably his most recognisable achievement, but there he was, I think that was a little early. I think he was a Salzburg guy, if I remember correctly. So one of those managers that Red Bull just put through their system and end up at RB Leipzig. But yeah, he's never really blossomed into the manager many expect him to be, but he's got a chance here with Belgium to pull off something and put himself back in the market for a domestic side. Lewis Bush says, do you think a team not in the current traditional Big Six, including Newcastle, will win the league in the next 10 years? So, no Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham City, United or Liverpool, and no Newcastle. Okay, probably not. If I'm being frank, probably not. I think the current disparity in finances will only be widened as we see an increased revenue in the Champions League due to more football matches, the increased revenue in the Europa League, and the increased revenue in the Conference League, as UEFA are pushing more and more games, earning more and more in television rights. I think that you've got... I mean, it says a lot that the League Cup has not been won by a non-traditional Big Six side since 2013 when Swansea City won it. I mean, that demonstrates the dominance there. The FA Cup, I think you'd be looking at the same year for a 2021, Leicester is the only underdog story. I mean, without Leicester, we'd have no underdog stories in the last 20 so years. And Leicester are pretty much the only underdog story in the Premier League era. There isn't another one of a title winner. Like, people will look back and say Blackburn, but they were the highest spenders in the Premier League in the year they won it. It's just that people look retrospectively and say, well, the team that are currently bottom of the, or fighting relegation in the Championship, they must have been underdogs. So I think it's very rare you see someone outside of the traditional Big Six. Whether that Big Six will change remains to be seen. You know, who will drop out of it, who will go up into it. Because, you know, it's often forgotten that, well, for the first 5 years of the Premier League, you know, Everton were part of that Big Five, it was called at the time, and Aston Villa as well, both of which have been threatened for relegation. Obviously, Villa did go down. So it can change. The monopoly can change. And I think as more clubs get big investment and learn how to use their money smartly, we might see clubs that have just, you know, spunked cash on players for years struggle. As we're seeing a bit with Chelsea right now. But I guess we'll see how the landscape of the Premier League develops. Lewis Wishes, do you think Villa could become a part of the top six? Oh, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure, because I think Villa are in a very interesting situation. A lot of people rightfully heralding them as underdogs, and that they've performed quite well. However, I'd argue they've been a little bit fortunate at times. I'm just going to wait a moment because England are putting the ball into the box. The corner's not great. But I think Villa have been a little bit fortunate at times. I think that their recruitment hasn't always been top-notch. I think they've been bailed out a few too many times this season by Emi Martinez. I mean, if you look at most data models, yes, they place Villa fourth in the league, but they place them as they should have 8 points fewer than they currently do. And Joe Gomez is warming up here, so I'm not sure what the issue is for England, but it looks like Gomez will be coming on. I think it's John Stones who's signalling to the bench that there's something wrong. Not sure what, but it looks like Joe Gomez will be coming on for England. But yeah, I think with Aston Villa, if they are able to develop the side well, then maybe. I think a lot of their investment's been a bit rushed, and they've had a lot of poor transfers as well. They've had a lot of errors. So yeah, I'm not sure. Very much depends on who they bring in after Emery. Because is Emery the one to win them a Premier League title and keep him in the Champions League for years? Probably not. I think they'll have some good cup runs in the next few years because that's what Emery's good at. Emery is brilliant in those cup competitions. In Europe, I think they'll probably win the Conference League this year. And then I'll be interested to see how they do in the Champions League because they'll probably get handed a tough group given that they'll be bottom seed. That's if they qualify for the Champions League, but it looks more plausible than not right now, given that England are more than likely to have 5 Champions League teams, and I don't see United challenging, given they are overperforming hugely at the moment. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see for Villa what happens there, especially as, you know, we expect eventually there'll be a Chelsea renaissance. Eventually Newcastle, well, next season you think Newcastle will probably be back to their best. Depending on who they bring in. If they stick with Eddie Howe, then who knows. Then you've got United who are overperforming massively, Tottenham who are overperforming massively, and where those two will be relative to everyone else. You know, will it even out and then drop down the table, or will they continue to overperform? Who knows? Then you've got like Liverpool. I think they've overperformed a little bit this season, and they're not going to have any Jurgen Klopp, which could be, you know, people act like that Liverpool couldn't fail when they replaced Klopp. But I think that arrogance is what led to United having such a terrible period. So yeah, I'm not sure. Bognus Binti, welcome to the stream, saying looking like that Mbappe is going to come to Arsenal now, buzzing. Where have you seen these reports? Because I've seen nothing of the sort. I've obviously strongly linked with Real Madrid. That seems to be all but done, and well, England trying to hand Belgium a goal here. fucking around with it at the back, but now they'll look to go the other way. And Phil Foden turns around and gives it to Pickford, who were quite out of shape, to be fair. And then Pickford just decides to give it back to him in the middle of the park. Yuri Tielemans, and they've scored. Well, that was terrible from England. Belgium 1, England 0. That was woeful. So that's a really good sign for the Euros. Really good sign. Just tragic distribution. Tragic distribution from Jordan Pickford. That is why I have an issue with him in the England squad. I mean, he's shouting and screaming now, but he's been a good shot stopper over the years, but it's the stuff he does with the ball at his feet. Any other manager but Southgate would have said, you know what, you just can't play for England. I mean, this is awful. Absolutely awful distribution. And then we just don't react. It falls to Onana in the middle of the park. He just brings it down. First time cushions it to Tielemans. He strikes it across goal and Pickford's still running around. So, yeah, really, really poor from Jordan Pickford. And England concede in, well, embarrassing fashion. Foden. Chilwell. Dunk. My uncle knows Arteta, says Bogus. Does he now? I think our uncle's getting fed some lies then, because I do not see any way Mbappe goes anywhere near Arsenal. Here is Bellingham. Chilwell. But yeah, I think returning to the Gareth Southgate point, if England fail to win the Euros this summer, and it's anything other than a final loss to France, then I think that has to come down to Gareth Southgate. Because we have, I would argue, the best, or the second best, if not the best, national side around right now in Europe. And therefore, a failure to win an international tournament this summer, I think, would be a disaster. Would be a failure. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure on England this summer, but they are a very good team. However, as we've seen, some of the selections are a bit odd. At the moment, we're losing to Belgium, who aren't very good at the moment. Anyway, Castagna, Onana. No idea how they're getting to play out of this, and down goes. Is that not Amadou Onana? Who is it? Oh, Oren Mangala. That's drawn the foul there, just got caught in the face by the flailing arm of Declan Rice. So that will be a Belgian free kick. It just allows them to push up the field 10, 20 yards. Gives them a bit of time now, and they're going to work it around to the left-hand side of the pitch. England pressing well, but Tiate plays down the line, and Doku comes and receives it. Tielemans, lovely turn, and he sells Declan Rice the dummy, but then Doku can't take the ball in his stride. I do think that while it might seem unbalanced, I think a Belgium side with Jeremy Doku on the left and Johan Bakayoko on the right sounds incredible. Like, it's impractical. 100% it's impractical, because you've got two out-and-out wingers. So, it doesn't really work into a system. But personally, Barnett, just give me two incredible dribblers for Belgium. And then Louis Openda up front just holds that line, really high line. And then we watch as the two wingers just dribble around. But yeah. Dunk. I mean, Dunk's just kicked it into Rice. I look at the England national side, right, tonight. And I know this isn't the Euros and this is still, we're warming up. But we have a back three currently on the pitch. Because Chilwell's pushing up high, so in possession it's a situational back three. Of Joe Gomez, of Lewis Dunk, and of Ezri Konsa. That doesn't paint a dire picture, I don't know what does. And Tony's been brought down the box. That should be a penalty, and it is awarded. Rightfully so, England penalty. Vertonghen argues otherwise. Tony, though, brought down there in on goal, and the ref's got a decision to make here regarding a card. So VAR is going to have a look. But that, for me, was Stonewall. Wonderful from Komania, by the way. Fantastic turn. Bellingham feeds through Tony, and Vertonghen just gets it all crossed up there. Or does he? I don't think the contact's huge, but there is enough there for Tony to go down. I wouldn't be awfully surprised if this is overturned, but I think it will be a penalty. I think that's the right decision. And Tony is on this then. Obviously, in the absence of Harry Kane, that does make sense. He was brought down for the penalty as well, which gives him added vindication. But, yeah, will he score it is the bigger question. So, referee just waiting a moment. And now we'll allow Tony to take it, I think. VAR is having a look. Brilliant. Let's get up a little VAR check graphic. There we go. We'll see what they determine. As I say, I wouldn't be too shocked to see it not be awarded, but I think it is a penalty. Not that we've deserved one based on how we've played, but it was a penalty. So I guess we'll see. And the ref seems reaffirmed in his decision. So it will be a penalty for England. Ivan Toney from 12 yards. Step back. Once ref's finished running around, he's going to have to go back to the ball and step back again. Ref's just milling about. Right, now the ref's happy. Tony steps back. Handful of deep breaths. And now the referee blows his whistle. Ivan Toney steps up and scores. England 1, Belgium 1. That's a lot more like it for the Three Lions. I mean, somewhat fortuitous in the way we've managed to claw ourselves back into this game, but we will more than take it. It was a difficult start to the match. Good to see us get that goal, put ourselves back on level terms, and forget about the howler from Jordan Pickford. Lewis asks, do you think Tony or Ollie Watkins is better? Ooh. I think it's very difficult to judge because we've not seen Tony play recently. Obviously, he was out for 6 months with the betting scandal. So I think it's very difficult to judge because before then, I'd have said Ivan Toney. I think he's a much more complete striker. He combines, an innate prowess in front of goal with an aerial threat, with an ability to hold a ball up that's better than Ollie Watkins. So I think he's, in terms of a more complete forward, I think Tony's a better player. I do think, though, Ollie Watkins this season has been electric. I think his pace in behind is incredible. He's really good at playing on the shoulder of the last defender. Quite Joey Vardy-esque mould. I think he's a very good footballer and a clinical finisher. But for me, Tony's more complete. And I think that's also reflected in the fact that Ivan Toney's drawing attention from elsewhere. And obviously, while Brentford are performing a lower standard than Aston Villa, it's a surprise to me that no big sides are looking at Ollie Watkins. I think that says a lot that his in-possession stuff isn't great. Good presser, good in behind, but not really good at linking up the play. So for an elite team, it doesn't really work. But for Tony, because he is just an out-and-out goal scorer, but he could also drop in, he could also win headers, I think he presents a much more elite forward. Both played for Brentford, says Lewis. Indeed they did. But yeah, Ollie Watkins a very long time ago. Yeah, they did both come through at Brentford. Didn't Ollie Watkins come through at Exeter as well? I think he was Exeter first, wasn't he? Part of that, was it Paul Tilsdale? His revolution there. They had Ollie Watkins, Ethan Ampadu, players like that at Exeter, I think. Might be wrong, but I think that's where Ollie Watkins was. Then he ended up at Brentford, because Brentford applied that very data-focused approach to scouting, which seems to be quite successful. I mean, they managed to find Ivan Toney. They managed to find Neil Maupay, who was very good for them, but has been terrible for everyone else. And obviously, as you say, Ollie Watkins, probably the best success of that model. Here come Belgium, bursting in behind. Jeremy Doku looking to take on Gomez, skins him inside, and that's a good save from Jordan Pickford. Foden now recovering in as Castagna presses him. And it's smashed long by Jordan Pickford. Toney chests it down. Kobe Mainu back to Ivan Toney. Lovely link-up play there. And Mainu makes them run beyond. Lovely stuff for England. He's going to drive that ball forwards now. Pokes it to Bowen. Bowen round the corner to Bellingham. Lovely football. Jude Bellingham can't open up the space for a shot as his effort is blocked by Arta Tiarte. And now Doku looking to take on Gomez again. Doesn't come off. Desrano says, is that the Euros away kit? Yes. Why are we not wearing white tonight? I think it's just to show off both kits, Daz. Because we played in white on Saturday night. And obviously these kits are less clashing. I imagine Belgium also wanted to show off their new away kit. So I think for marketing reasons, we're wearing our away strip tonight. Lewis Bush says, Watkins has more assists than Salah. Okay. Yeah, again, a lot of those are in transition. A lot of those will be he gets down the touch, he makes the run into the channel, gets in behind, squares it to a Diaby or Bailey, someone else who's running beyond, or cuts it back into the path of someone like Douglas Lewis, John McGinn. I think. Anyway, I've not analysed a whole lot of Aston Villa this season, but from what I have seen, I think that's where a lot of his assists come from. So yeah, you can't just use assists as metrics in possession. And as I say, a lot of his in possession stuff in terms of holding the ball up, in terms of linking up the play, isn't perfect. Isn't really evident actually in the Emery play. A lot of Emery's football comes from the wide players. I think a lot of that comes from there. And obviously fast transitions. They're one of the most transitional sides in the Premier League. Probably why they've had quite a few long-term injuries over his time. You know, you look at transitional sides, they do pick up injuries more often because they are having to run a lot more. You know, Liverpool, Newcastle, Tottenham, Aston Villa. You look at Pep, he barely ever gets an injury. But yeah. Foden, and that's a good challenge from Timothy Castagna. But yeah, we just don't look comfortable, England. We don't look like we are assured in our shape. We don't really look like we know how to get the ball from A to B. How we move the ball from Jordan Pickford in between the England sticks, through the pitch, through the lines, into Ivan Toney, or another forward in an attacking area. Don't really seem to know what we're doing there. Here's Dunk. It's also a bit of a weird thing that he is even in this squad. You know, we're taking Jarrah Branthwaite. Surely this is a perfect opportunity to hand him some minutes. And we've gone, nah. You know what we're going to do? We're going to give more minutes to Lewis Dunk. Now, he's done very well at Brighton, Lewis Dunk. But is he the centre-half to lead England forwards? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He's not going to play at the Euros. He's not going to start for us in the years to come. What is the point? What are we achieving? Ball in behind, and that's giving Lukaku something to run onto. Thankfully, it's Lukaku and run, which is a sentence that hasn't been said a lot in the last 5 years. Ian Brads says, Kobe's honestly going to be world class. I disagree. I have to say I disagree. Sorry, Ian Brads, but I don't see it. There's a lot in his play that's encouraging, but I don't know. I think there's also a lot of obviously very raw elements to his play, and that's understandable. But I think it's much too early to say he's going to be a guarantee he's going to be world class. He's going to be a good footballer. That much you can say. But just like people who are overhyping, you know, players like Lamine Yamal, Pau Kabassi, Hector Fort, all at Barcelona, incidentally, Endrick, players like that, you can't judge them yet. They're 16, 17, 18 in some cases. You can't judge them yet. They've not played enough football. They've not developed yet into their full size. Like Kobe Mainoo's quite short. If he grows an extra, couple feet, which at a very late growth spurt, admittedly, at 18. But if he could grow not a couple of feet, but you know what I mean, a couple of inches, then he could be a very good defensive midfielder because he'd have the height. But I think he can still be a good defensive midfielder. I think at the moment he couldn't play as a single pivot. Just looking at him stylistically, obviously players can develop. Fucking England, man, are killing me. Just watched a pass go back from, I didn't see who it was from, I think it might have been Mainoo. But it's between Dunk and Conza, and they both just looked at it and went, who's going to get that then? For a full couple of seconds, there's no one around. Painful. Lewis Bush says he could be world class, but it's too early to tell. I agree with you there, Lewis, and that's a much more rational way to look at Kobe Mainoo. I think what you can say is he's going to be a good footballer. He's going to be a Premier League quality footballer. But so many factors play into it. Do Manchester United overplay him? Undoubtedly, they're going to overplay him. They did the same with Rashford. Look where he is now. They did the same with so many other players. I mean, like Anthony Elanga. Or they go the opposite way, where they like Amad Diallo, where he's been handed like 7 sub minutes. You know, they don't ever strike a balance. It's either we've played them every match this season or we've never given them a go. Manchester United, I don't get it. But yeah, lovely reverse ball from Rice into Tony, and it's found its way to Jarrod Bowen. Bowen into Bellingham. Can he find a cutback ball into the box? And it's just hooked up there brilliantly by De Bast, actually, for Belgium. The ball comes in, and what he's managed to do here is flick it up, right, sort of bearing in on his own goal. Is flick it up and over the goal. I mean, that is judged perfectly. Get that wrong, and it goes in your own net. But yeah, just really well there. In England with a corner now, it's going to be Phil Foden to whip this in. And that's really deep towards the back post, and that's brilliantly worked by England. Dunk heads it down. Bowen nods it home, and that's England 2, Belgium 1. Much more positive stuff since conceding that early goal. I mean, that was a really well worked routine. If we see a bit of that at the Euros, maybe we'll just win from corners. We've got Maguire in there. We've got Stones in there. We've got Kane. Get a little Harry Maguire nod down. Flicked down by anyone. Goal for England. I'll have that all summer. Lovely day. But yeah. Fantastic stuff for England. Ian Bread says, I've worded it poorly, but yeah, I agree with the fact it's not guaranteed. We're watching Manchester United every week. He puts world-class midfielders to shame. Yeah, he also, I think it's heightened because he's playing for Manchester United. One, their PR is incredible. Both from inside the club, where they push him out in the mainstream media because United have such strong links in the media. And also, secondly, by the fans, because they have such a strong fan base that are, you know, if 10,000 people type Kobe Mainoo is world class, has a lot more of an impact. So I think it's definitely been pushed out a lot at the moment. But I'm not sure. I think Mainoo's still got a long way to go. And a lot of the time he does find himself a bit caught out and has to be recovered by Casemiro, which isn't the greatest thing because Casemiro's lost his legs. He can't run anymore. So, yeah, not great. There was a VAR check by this goal. I'm not really sure what they could rule it out for. Is it offside? I think they're just denying it for offside. I'm not sure. It is. There's another offside. I'm not exactly sure what that is for. I mean, they didn't show any replays on Channel 4, so thank you for that. Don't know why we let them have the England games. But yeah, so I didn't look offside from the initial goal. I've seen no replays. No idea. Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, he is offside. By a hell of a distance, to be fair, as well. So yeah, brilliant stuff. Maybe don't try that routine then at the Euros if we're going to get caught offside every time. Belgium did really well, actually, to hold their line at a corner, which is interesting. Foden plays down the line, Chilwell overlapping well, and he just dragged himself a bit too central there with Timothy Castagna. Could have perhaps looked to put that ball in the box early, and it's been given as a goal kick, which England fans miffed about. Sincerely miffed about, because I don't know, is it a good call or not? It looked like a kick off Castagna to me. It's a dubious one, but it looked like a kick off Timothy Castagna. Imbra says, I hope he doesn't get the Wilshere treatment in response to Kobe Mainoo. Yeah, I agree. Lewis Bush says, if it wasn't for Mainoo, United would be even more screwed. United are the luckiest team in the Premier League, in that they are the side that have overperformed expected points by the highest. I think it's by 11, which moves them from what should be an 11th place in the Premier League right now to 6th, which is horrible to see. They are just the jammiest side, and a lot of that is because they don't create many chances, yet they seem to score a goal every game, and they'll just get a goal at some point, and a lot of that is because they can see a lot less goals than they should for some reason. Sainz just missed loads of chances again. And you look at the City game. City could have scored about 8 in that match. And yet at half-time they were 1-0 down. And Haaland had missed his highest XG chance, and arguably the highest XG chance miss of the whole Premier League season. I don't think there's one higher. So United, it just all seems to go right for them somehow. But I don't know. I don't think the football they play isn't of the ilk of an elite side. So I think that's gonna bite them in the arse eventually, because you can't really win anything while playing poor football. They played good football last season at times. They won a trophy, and I still think that not Southgate, Ten Hag can achieve a lot at United, given the right players and the right investment. But they've got to get it right with the director of football. I think Dan Ashworth would be a good appointment. But I think if they did bring him in, that probably points towards them not keeping Ten Hag. We know Ashworth's a strong appreciator of Graham Potter. So, yeah. Wouldn't be surprised to see Ten Hag go this summer. Anyway. 30 minutes played somehow in this first half. Not a whole lot has happened. But we'll take it. More goals than last week. Already. Disallowed goal. Which rightfully disallowed, but a bit of a stupid one for England. But yeah. Not bad so far from the three lines. I think that the manner we conceded bears no resemblance on how we've played in this game. Really. It just shows that there are players playing for the England national side who are not of the quality required. And there are players that don't get a look in that should, really. But that's just my opinion. I'm sure Southgate would strongly disagree. I keep looking at this back two partnership. Or, well, back three, really. Because I think Ezri Konsa has merited in being there. But Dunk and Gomez aren't. Gomez had a good season, but no. Gurley's had a better season. Tomori's had a better season. Just that big six bias. And Foden's driving forwards for England here. Knocks it out wide. Here is Jared Bowen. Comes inside and fires an effort over the bar. Ryan June, welcome to the stream. The classic high full stop. How are you doing? Ryan says brilliant. And I preempted your question, Ryan. But yeah, good to see you, mate. I'm doing well. It's always good to watch England, even though the numbers on site stream haven't been great. We had a good stream Saturday, so we could focus on that rather than tonight. But yeah, and England with a big chance. Bellingham blasts it wide. I think there's a foul in there regardless. No, there wasn't. So Bellingham with a big missed opportunity. They're trying to play the ball out from the back here. Belgium. And Mainu just pounced there. Oh no, Amadou Onana won the ball back and Bellingham's just tried to blast it past Sells. Unfortunately for him, blasting over the bar. Lewis Bush says, with Man United, it's like Ten Hag is an F1 driver with his car being glued to the floor. Yes. That analogy sounds crazy. I think I get what you're saying. I think Ten Hag is a really good manager. I think that was proven at Ajax. There was some really positive stuff. But there's so many elements to their play that haven't looked great this season. And I think it's because he's trying to adapt it too much for the players he's got. But, yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of the players he's got aren't really top-class Premier League quality. You know, you look at a lot of their stuff this season, it's been a bit all over the place. Like last season, one of the things that they were so good at was counter-pressing. And yet this season, their counter-press is a mess. And a lot of that comes from the second phase. Those players that push up, I think a lot, because you've not had Lissandro and players like that, they haven't held as high a line as they usually do United. So, yeah, personnel's definitely been an issue for them this season and injuries. And personnel in general, because players like Anthony don't cut it. So, yeah, I think there's some valid frustrations for Ten Hag, but I also think there are some things that he is getting wrong massively. Bit of miscommunication there between Foden and Chilwell, but Foden does bring the ball down well. Now Bellingham, Chilwell, ball into the box, headed away well by De Vast. Here is Kobe Mainoo. Now Rice. Arthur, welcome to the stream. Moderator, that is a surprise. I forgot you. I must have just forgotten to take off you, but yeah, there you go, Arthur. Welcome back, mate. Long time no see on here. Ryan Tunes predicting 4-3 England. I mean, that would provide us with one hell of a second half. Belgium, with the ball in behind, and Romelu Lukaku has won it off Dunk. That is tragic defending from Lewis Dunk. finding further evidence he should not be anywhere near this team. Great ball in from Lukaku. Great header at the back post from Yuri Tielemans. Sometimes you just have to appreciate a magnificent goal. And also go, why wasn't Lukaku doing that at Chelsea? I mean, yeah, it's shit from England again. It's another huge defensive error from an individual. We've conceded now from 2 individual errors. 1, Pickford not being very good with the ball at his feet. 2, Dunk not being very good at football. Again, avoidable. They shouldn't be in the England team, but there you go. Tielemans up the Villa. Yeah. I mean, outside the boot cross from Romelu Lukaku. Are we taking the piss? How on earth has that happened then? I mean, Dunk, that's fucking abysmal, mate. That is tragic. No one picking up Tielemans at that post, but that cross from Lukaku. Incredible. But yeah, that's a brace now for Yuri Tielemans. And as Lewis says, I hope he gets a hat-trick. Fair enough, Lewis. I don't. But seeing Jordan Pickford and Lewis Dunk there in the same shots, both wearing England kits, is making me feel ill. I mean, I thought we were over this, obsession with random crap England centre-halves, but apparently not. Maguire's not enough. We need Dunk as well. And that whole left side isn't great with Chilwell there as well. He's not had a good season, Ben Chilwell. Great cross from Lukaku, says Lewis Bush. I've no idea how he pulled it off. But yeah. I genuinely don't know what... I know Levi Cole was injured, but I'm going to give him as an example. What Levi Cole will, Fikayo Tomori, Mark Guehi, Jared Branthwaite, what they've got to do to merit starts and minutes and regular call-ups for England. Because Branthwaite should start tonight. Because he's a much better footballer than Dunk and has a future with England. But Dunk really shouldn't. You've got Mark Guehi, who, for me, should be getting England minutes. I'm not sure if he's got a knock right now or what, but he should be getting England minutes over Joe Gomez. We have 15 right-backs, and yet Joe Gomez is currently playing there. So make of that what you will. I know Konza started there, which makes sense because we play a situational back 3. But there's players that could do the same job. Or switch it and play situational back 3, but use the left-hand side because we haven't got any good left-backs. But Branthwaite should be starting, as I say. Guehi could be in there. Then we wouldn't have to have Konza at centre-half. I'm a right-back instead. But yeah. That's Southgate for you. Doku, Mangala. Castagna, Mangala. Onana. Debast. Now it's with Sells. Again, we haven't challenged him really much tonight. I haven't offered him much to save. Have a shot. I mean, I've watched very little Nottingham Forest this season. Every time I have, I've been miffed as to why teams don't just shoot more. One, the defence leaves loads of holes. I've not seen much good goalkeeping from any of Matt Turner, Odysseus Vlachodimos, or from Matt Sells. So Belgium are handing us the ball on the edge of their own penalty area and then just taking it back again. Just have a shot, lads. Well, hold on to the ball. They're passing it to you. Hold on to it. Belgium had 3 shots, scored 2 goals. We had 4 and only scored once. And currently, Chilwell's being hounded by Jeremy Doku there. Lewis says, I'll go with the F1 analogy with Southgate. I mean, the best F1 car, but he's as good as you at driving it. Yeah. So I put Sargent in the Red Bull. He's an okay driver, but he keeps putting the wets on in the dry. But yeah. It's a travesty that an England squad as strong as this is managed by a manager who has no tactical acumen whatsoever. Like, Colbate's a great squad. Lovely. They can all sit in a circle, hold hands and sing Hosanna till the sun comes down, but can they play good football as a team, as a cohesive unit? No. And also, some of these players are shite and shouldn't be in the England squad. Like, yes, they're Premier League quality. That doesn't mean they should be in the England squad. There are much better players who are much more suited to this tactical style, if you can call this that. And yet, I don't know. I don't know what certain England players have on Southgate, why he has to keep picking them, but I'd love to know what the secret is. Bowen. Bellingham plays back down the line, and that's one hell of a ball for Jared Bowen to try and chase after. He almost got there, to be fair to the lad, but Tielemans sees it out. I'm not joking, I think I do better, says Lewis Bush. I disagree. I disagree. Even as a manager, I don't think I can say I do better than Gareth Southgate. But, yeah. I mean, that is so poor from England. From Dunk. Terrible. Anyway. Well, we got to see Lukaku do an outside the boot cross. So at least there is a silver lining to every terrible tale. I'm going to frame that and put it on the wall. Free kick for England. Not a bad area. Okay, Mania just driving it forwards, being held back there by Tielemans. And then he just falls him over, and then Onana, for good measure, decides to do the same. So, this is definitely a great area for this ball in. Declan Rice. Pretty adjacent, well, pretty much on the, what yard line is it? 25? Pretty much adjacent to that. Right hand side of the pitch, just outside the box. Just wide of the box. Can he deliver it? And we've got a lot of presence in there. Dunk. Ball in, and it's straight to the gloves of Sales. What a good use of everyone's time. I mean, why is Rice on that, by the way? Why is Declan Rice on an aerial ball? He's one of our tallest players. I know we've got Tony, Dunk, and presumably Gomez or Konza in there. But why is Rice taking the set? Put Bowen on it, or anyone. They're all tiny. Don't put Rice on it. We've seen this season just how much of a threat he can be from those sorts of situations. You look at Arsenal, his movement in the box, it's dangerous. It's really dangerous. Lewis Bush says, all right, I've got to go for 10 minutes. All right, see you, Lewis. I'll see you in 10, hopefully. Yeah, great tackle that from Lukaku getting back in, and now Belgium will look to build it up. Tiate. Now Doku, and one back well by Bellingham. Here's Gomez. Kobe Mainoo. Mainoo, sorry. Bellingham Gomez looking to take on players here, so it just looks so agile for shoot Bellingham. We have now conceded possession though. And that is a coming together there between Amadou Onana and Joe Gomez. Belgium kick it out, and that will be a... Well, if the referees are going to come on, I'm not sure what they'll do after that. But yeah, look concerning here as Onana goes down clutching his head. He just sort of had Joe Gomez fall on him, knee him in the head, and then kick him in the head. So, yeah, not a dough for him. In much more positive England news, England's on the 21 side are 6-0 up against Luxembourg. Samuel Illing Jr. has just added another on 72 minutes. That's now a brace for him, a brace for Madueke, a goal for Bino Gittins, and a goal for Morgan Rogers. I mean, there's some real, well-known names in there. And that's without even looking deeper in the squad, where you see a midfield three of Alex Scott, James McAtee and Harvey Elliott. Joe Quansah and Harvard Bellis are the centre-halves. Archie Gray's playing right back in this team. The goalkeeper is Sam Tickle, which is funny. And then Jay Sandfield as well. A very, very strong team. Very strong team. But, yeah, and obviously Trafford would be in there usually. He's now in the England squad due to an injury to Sam Johnston, which is a travesty. But yeah. We better probably have him over Pickford tonight. Based on Pickford's performance. Mental that Jordan Pickford will probably start for us, or well, undoubtedly start for us at the Euros. I think he demonstrates such an inability to play with the ball at his feet that it sort of limits us from playing possession-based football. Just don't have that tool as a goalkeeper that can actually, distribute the football. It means we have to play quite direct. Sells. Harry, welcome to the stream chat. Says friendly's not showing good signs so far then. I don't know if the signs have been poor tonight, to be honest. I know you've not watched the first 45, but we've had I mean, both of the goals were conceded have come from individual errors because Lewis Dunk should not be anywhere near this fucking team, and Sir Jordan Pickford. In reality, I mean, we're seeing a replay here as Dunk falls over the ball, tries to kick it and falls over again. Lukaku puts in his outside the boot cross, and Dylan's heads home. I mean, that's not a tactical thing, is it? But that is players that Gareth Southgate has picked as being worthy of playing for England. We have 3 minutes of additional time, by the way, so I've got to remember. Do the other time graphic. There we go. Look at that. Quality stuff. Anyway. Bellingham gets shoved over there by Onana. But England's still in possession, so play will continue. Konza on the ball. Rice. Finds Joe Gomez. Now Konza. And here is Kobe Mainoo operating in a wide area. Bellingham. Gomez. Jude Bellingham. Down the line to Bowen, and Bowen turns and looks to take players on. Will go wide into Mainoo. Mainoo plays it inside. Bellingham has options around. And now finds Declan Rice. Rice finds a bit of space. Gomez delivers across. Here's Jarrod Bowen. Bowen to Bellingham. Bellingham takes aim, and it's a good save for Sells. Gets down well. Saves it well and clutched it to his chest. That was a bit more positive for England. Yeah, Jude Bellingham, they're just not able to fashion himself an opportunity good enough to put the ball in the back of the net. But regardless, good stuff from England. I have to say as well, really like the Belgium goalkeeper kit that they've paired up with the Tintin-inspired away shirt. Really like that kit. Not the Tintin one. That looks a bit crap. But I like the novelty of it. But the kit isn't great. The design isn't great. I do really like the goalkeeper kit though. Here is Jarrod Bowen taking aim, and again it's in the grasp of Matt Sells. I mean, that was a little bit more of a pot shot than a meaningful effort. And now Sells will go along with it under a lot of pressure from Bellingham there. He almost managed to win the ball off him as he dropped it at his feet to kick it long. Here's Lewis Dunk. Rice. Bowen to Gomez. Gomez down the line into Mainoo. Hands all over him there from Amadou Onana. And that will now be a... England think it's their throw, and instead it will be a Belgium throw. But yeah, overall, not been a terrible performance tonight. It's just another frustrating one. Where we're talking time and time again about players who just aren't good enough for this stage. And that is half time. England 1, Belgium 2. I mean, frustrating one. I think you can put a lot of blame on certain individuals out there this evening. You know, we shouldn't really be in the position we are. We should be in a much more comfortable one. But yeah, tonight hasn't really gone the way we wanted it to. Nick says, are we enjoying the game? No, Nick. We're losing. No, it's not been too bad. It's a bit frustrating. But, I don't know. Performance hasn't been too bad. I'll break it down in the next sort of 15 minutes. Now it says, Wales just scored, but VAR said it was offside. Gutting. Iceland 1-0 up as well away at Ukraine. And it was Georgia that beat Greece. So Georgia will be through to the European Championships. Huge moment for them. Really big moment for them. So what group are they in? I'm not sure. I'm going to find out. Hang on. I'm intrigued to see who they face. Are they in the Netherlands group? Because that's a fun one. Winner of playoff A. Is that Wales? I'm not sure. I think Wales is playoff A, isn't it? So they feed into that group. I'm not sure though. If anyone knows, let me know. But yeah. I think that means Georgia might be in the Portugal group. Anyway, first half, England played well. 2 stupid errors from players that shouldn't be in the squad, really. I mean, Lewis Dunk, kick in the air, lying around on the floor. I mean, that was embarrassing as he fell over. Then watching Romelu Lukaku run, and then putting outside the boot cross to the back post. I mean, I've honestly never experienced anything that seemed more AI generated than that moment. Just outside the boot, back post, Tielemans head time. It was frustrating to watch. Harry says, hope Wales lose. Don't want to see them at the Euros. Nick says, 3 shots on target, 2 goals for Belgium. You've done nothing, Nick Nack. Other than England handing them 2 gilt-edged opportunities due to our defensive incompetencies, they've not had anything. I mean, Pickford, the first goal for England, right? Pickford, it comes back to him in his box. He goes to clear it, and he just gets nothing behind it. It falls to Onana, who first time just cushions it for Tielemans. He just plucks it bottom corner. Because Pickford's over here. Over yonder, he has to run across goal. I mean, that was shocking again. I mean, it shows further that Jordan Pickford is embarrassing. Dunk looks drunk. Does Pickford have hands? That's the thing. Pickford does have hands. He doesn't have feet. He tries to hit the ball. Doesn't go anywhere. That's proven. And we've known that. Pickford's distribution is shocking. He's a good enough shot stopper and a good enough penalty saver that he gets away with it in this England side. But if we want to play good football, good possession-based football, we can't do that with Jordan Pickford because he can't play football. That's a fact. We've said it so many times. Jordan Pickford can't play the ball at his feet. He's not an elite goalkeeper. That's why he doesn't play for an elite side. Despite his goalkeeping quality. It's good at stopping shots. But modern goalkeepers have to be better at so many other things. It's not just stopping shots for them. Anyway. Other things to touch on. The goal. I mean, it was a penalty, but good football in the build-up. It was... Excuse the loud noise. It was Kobe Mainoo. He spun around really well, actually. I thought that was probably our best moment of the game. Kobe Mainoo turning. But that was a really good pirouette. Managed to take a couple of plays out of the game. Gave it to Bellingham. Bellingham fed it through. Nice ball through from Bellingham. Surprise, surprise. And Tony was in on goal. Got wiped out by Jan Vertonghen. Not wiped out, but shoved down by Jan Vertonghen. I think it was a warranted penalty. But it looks crap because we are 2-1 down in a game where the opposition haven't had loads of shots, haven't really done anything, and we've only scored a penalty despite being the better side. But the overall play is somewhat encouraging. It just worries me that if we see this catalogue of, or a comedy of errors really in defence at the Euros, then we're going to lose games. And if we can't finish our chances or even create clear-cut chances, then what's that going to come to? Not many goals. It's also 7-0 England under 21, so why don't you put that on? We should just stream that. It would be much more fun. Marouane Fellaini, by the way, no longer has an afro, so that's not fun for anyone, is it? Like, what's the point in that? Go easy on the Orangina, says Nick Nack. Absolutely not. Really going hard on the... what's the brand called? Vive Orange Zero Sugar. Every time I see that Pickford cross, I get more depressed. I mean, that was tragic. Not cross, sorry, distribution. Clearance, whatever you want to call it. Well, no, clearance didn't clear it anyway. And then that says go easy. Oh no, I've already read that. At least it was everyone's saying we're going to win the Euros. We are, Nick Nack. We should. We're the best team in the world. There are no teams better than us other than France. But if we ignore that, we are the best team in the world. However, we have a manager who is not capable of managing at the elite level. So, yeah. Here's the pressure off a bit, asked Nick Nack. It does and it doesn't. Because I think that, in a sense, there's going to be more demand of the players. Because people will be like, oh, you've got to be better than this. You've got to be better than this. Now, if we won these games, I think a lot of people would be relaxed, in a sense. People would go, you know what, we look really good, really confident. A lot of people are just not going to have that belief anymore about England. I'd rather us be confident and somewhat bullish in our approach to the tournament than completely dysphomistic. But yeah, good paid by Tony. He's good at those. Turns out. Never miss one. Quite good at them. But yeah. We're clearly not, says Nick Nack. Yes, we are. We've just got a crap manager and he picks crap players. Like, you look at this England side, right? And you look in the selection pool. You've got Mark Gurhey, Kai Tamori, Levi Colwill, literally any human, and you go, Lewis Dunk. Yeah, that's what I'm going to play. Even the squad he picked, he could have played Jared Branthwaite at left centre half tonight, and you know what you went for? This bambling fool. Now, Lewis Dunk, don't get me wrong, has been very, very good for Brighton, and he suits that system well, and he's played well for them. But that shit does take a rocket science to swear that one out. And also, he's cemented Pickford as first choice, which is, I don't think, a great decision. I know we don't have a plethora of brilliant goalkeepers, but it probably would have been Pope for me, maybe. Ramsdale, who knows? Did Henderson a few years ago? No idea. But yeah. Yeah, it says we'll slag the team off now, but come the summer we'll be singing Sweet Caroline and backing Southgate to the hills and back. Oh, 100%. I'm telling you now, when we play those friendlies against, is it Slovenia and Iceland? Something like that. Let me have a look. When we play those pre-tournament friendlies, warm-up ones, sorry, Bosnia and Herzegovina and Iceland. We play Slovenia in the actual tournament. But yeah, Bosnia and Iceland. When we play those games, 3rd of June, 7th of June, I'm gonna be going mental, jumping up and down, screaming about Southgate, positively, hopefully, and yeah, that'll be a good warm-up, good precursor for the tournament. Probably lose both those games, and all the momentum will be killed. But yeah, I think. Well, I don't know. I'm excited for the Euros. I love the Euros. I love international tournaments. I don't really like international breaks like these. I don't really see the point in these games, if I'm honest. It would have been nice to give the players a week off. Give it, the schedule's so intense, or we could shuffle a midweek game week that we're going to have into this weekend, which just takes the pressure off a little bit. But instead, let's stretch the schedule and make everyone play 2 friendlies against Brazil and Belgium. And at this rate, we're going to lose both of them. So, really good stuff. We've really learnt a lot from this. But, yeah. We came into these friendlies, by the way, unbeaten since our World Cup loss. And yet, we're going into the Euros now, potentially with 2 consecutive losses in the preparation matches. The time before that we lost was the Nations League campaign, where we were abysmal at the end of 2022. But yeah, so that's really good. Really good stuff for England. I mean, obviously we did draw with North Macedonia as well, but that game was a bit pointless. Like, nobody really wanted to be there. We were already through, played a second-rate side, and didn't play particularly good football. But yeah, I don't think this says a lot about how we're going to play at the Euros. I still think there's a huge question mark around who's going to play as the third midfielder. For me, Rice and rain's really picking up. Rice and Bellingham for me are nailed on. I would have Curtis Jones in there, but he's not even given a look in the England side, so no idea who's going to play in that third place. Probably Jordan Henderson, if we're being honest, because that would make the least sense. So probably what Southgate would do. Then you've got the back line, which I still don't think we've figured out at all. So the first Euros, we have no idea what the team's going to look like. Like, it could be, probably will be, Walker, Stones, Maguire, Chilwell, Shaw if he's fit, who knows. And then front line, again, could be Rashford, Foden on the left flank, will be Saka on the right, should be Kane through the middle. But yeah. I don't know. I really don't know what we're going to line up with. For me, it has to be Southgate's last tournament, regardless of the result. If we win or we lose, let's go out on a high or end it on a low. By the way, I think this has to be his last one. And then go and get an elite coach. I don't know who, but find one. Pay him a load of money and we win everything. But yeah, and preferably one that watches more than just the Premier League and Ajax, because that could be useful. If we had someone who did check out Angel Gomez and Fikayo Tomori and various other talents, Marcus Edwards maybe. But yeah, not just Ajax. Harry says if Rashford starts, I'll boycott the tournament. Honestly, it looks quite likely, because I think what they'll try and do is play Rashford and Saka, because you've got Rashford, who's a really out-and-out winger, and then Saka, who is a much more of an inside forward. Then you have probably Jude Bellingham operating in the left half space. and then Walker coming up the line, and then obviously you've got Kane through the middle. And that's probably what we'll do. I don't really know what that means for Ben Chilwell, though. I don't think I'd have it the other way around. I've had the inside forward on the left-hand side, so then we can have Ben Chilwell overlapping and Walker in a situational back three, which is seemingly what we're doing, but then Saka, who's an inside forward, is playing as a winger. So make sense of that. For me, I'd probably have something like Levi Colwill playing left back, because he can play in a situational back three. Then I'd have Trent at right back, inverting into midfield. Nice stuff. Him and Rice, double pivot. I like it. Bellingham and Foden, Palmer, Jones, something like that. Then Foden one side, or Rashford if we have to. Saka on the other, Kane for the middle. That's probably our best team. And then fuck knows in goal. It's going to be Pickford, isn't it? But I know there's not many options for England, but Pickford's not great. He's not at the level of an elite goalkeeper, which is probably something we're missing. But yeah. Has always done well at tournaments though, Pickford, so maybe I'm being harsh on him. Anyway, we should be underway for the second half soonish. In terms of changes, if I don't see Cole Palmer get on the pitch before the hour mark, I will be fuming. Because what's the point in taking him? Southgate took him, didn't even put him on the bench for the first game, which why? And then tonight doesn't start him for some reason. But yeah, I always find his selections odd. I feel like Branthwaite should have been given a chance tonight. It's a shame that our only option off the bench when Stones got injured was to bring Joe Gomez on. Because I also don't think he's got much of a future with the England national side. I don't know. It's interesting. I think our depth is probably our biggest issue now, and that will change because you would imagine we will see, a lot of young players coming through. Harwood Bellis, players like that. Gives us more options. I don't think he's ever going to play for England, really, Harwood Bellis, but Quansah, who knows? There's definitely players in the U21s that could play for England. I mean, I think Harvey Elliott's someone that could definitely be in the England squad. I think that we'll see Alex Scott will definitely be in there one day. I think our midfield's going to be very stacked in a few years' time with Scott, Miley, Mainu. Need a defensive midfielder, but there's three good central midfielders. Obviously, Bellingham still in there. Rice for a few years. But yeah, it's pretty poor result so far, but not a bad performance in the first half. And now here comes Gareth Southgate again. And the Versus players making their way out of the tunnel, so we can get ready for the second half. Any changes? Any changes? Doesn't look like it. But yeah. Did England... I don't know if this happened in the first half. I know why they're doing it. They've got no names on the back of the shirts for Alzheimer's, right? But is that just for the second half? I didn't notice it in the first half. I don't think they ripped the names off. I think they just had two shirts. But yeah, should we be able to get underway for the second half? Welcome back, Lewis. Good to see you, mate. But yeah, second half about to get underway. Should be a good one. Hopefully. Any time today, referee. But we have to do something in the second half. Please. Something positive. Lukaku and Tielemans over the middle when we do get underway for the second 45. And yeah, a lot of work for England to do. Would be nice to come away with a positive result from this evening's encounter. But we have put ourselves in a shit position by making really poor defensive errors. But I think this friendly also shows two things. One, these friendlies show two things. One, Bellingham has to play every game, because if not, we lose. And Foden will probably start the Euros, which is a very good sign. What's not a good sign here is that we are being pulled apart by Belgium's attack once again. And it's Rice that comes in and able to stop the ball in. It's Doc on the left-hand side, cut the ball back, looking for Lukaku. And thank God Declan Rice was there, because our defence was watching it unfold. Throwing now for Belgium after Tiarte. Navaton. Sells. De Bast. Yeah, as always, get your thoughts on the game or anything else really you want to discuss in the live chat. I'll make sure to discuss it. I'm sure people in chat will get involved in the discussions. But yeah. Lewis says, just hope Tielemans gets a hat-trick and either Konza or Watkins scores. Yeah, I mean, hopefully an England player. Preferably Lewis. But yeah, fair enough. De Bast. Tielemans. Not Tielemans, Trossard. Very different players. But Stones, quite worryingly for City, sorry. On the bench there, I'm not sure what that... he's got a blanket over him, or look like a flannel to me. I'm not sure what that's achieving, but yeah. Stones, I'm not a doctor. That doesn't look positive, does it? For Stones, doesn't look positive for City. Doesn't look positive for England, because we do have a major international tournament in 3 months' time. It's Jeremy Doku. I think he'll be more concerned, given they play Arsenal on Sunday. Doku. But yeah. Trossard towards Yuri Tielemans, plays the ball in, and it's in the gloves of Jordan Pickford. I'm not going to throw it out here. He's waiting for something to be on. Nothing appearing for him, so he'll take his time. And then just throws it to Rice. Gomez. Goes down the line, finds Bowen. He comes back so he can play around the defence again. Gomez. Bowen. Konza. Jude Bellingham drops deep to receive the ball, then Foden does the same. Bowen, that doesn't come off. It's one high at the field by Belgium, but then recovered by England. Mainu, that's behind Foden. That's a hospital ball. Mainu again now, though. And that is a much better pass, finding Ivan Toney, and it's blocked wide by Vertonghen. But not a bad return for Ivan Toney tonight to the international setup. I think he's looked at home, looked really comfortable. Lewis Bush asks, who do you think will go down? For me, it is between... Now, we're not even going to talk about Sheffield United and Burnley because they are relegated. Congratulations, enjoy the Championship next year. I think it's between Forest, Everton, Luton and Brentford, probably. I think that I really want Luton Town to stay up. For a personal standpoint, I really want Luton Town to stay up. I'm worried that Forest will get something against Palace this weekend. But I don't think it's impossible Luton gets something from Tottenham. If you look back at the game at the Kenny, I mean, it's a disadvantage for Luton, a huge disadvantage that this game isn't at the Kenny. If you look back at the game at the Kenny earlier in the season, Tottenham missed so many chances, and Tottenham aren't really doing very well at the moment. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Luton did pull off something there. I think that they've got a chance of staying up, a really strong chance of staying up. Especially given that I don't think Forest points actually will be overturned. There's no reason for it to be. In fact, I think they're very lucky that it wasn't harsher. Should have been -6, really. And then it will all depend on whether Everton get another deduction. Because if Everton get another 6 points, or potentially a harsher one of 8, because they've broken it twice, then I think they're down. So, that has a huge consequence. Then you've got Brentford, where can Ivan Toney's goals just fire them into safety? Maybe. But yeah, obviously I really hope Luton stay up. But I think it'll be tight. I want Brentford to go down, says Lewis Bush. What are the points looking like? Nothing really happening in the game, by the way. Belgium are breaking into the box now, though, and Lukaku's fallen over his own 2 feet. That's predictable. Premier League table. Because it's been so long since the Premier League happened in my mind, because I didn't really watch the last weekend of Prem fixtures, because it's like West Ham Villa and that. There's 4 matches, weren't there? It's FA Cup weekend. So let's have a look at the table. Luton are a point ahead of Nottingham Forest. Then they're on 22-21. Then Everton are 3 ahead of Luton on 25, but they do have a game in hand. And then it's Brentford on 26. 4 points ahead of Luton. Luton can catch that. What's Brentford's running looking like? United probably win. Should lose though because United get jammy. Brighton should lose. Villa should lose. Sheffield United, that's an easy 3 points. Fulham, which given Fulham don't have a lot to fight for, that should be a win. The same for Bournemouth away. Bournemouth don't have a lot to fight for, that should be a win. And then Newcastle at home, which is probably a very difficult game. So all in all, I think Brentford are pretty much guaranteed 9 points, and their survival will come down to whether they can pick up anything else against the big sides. Obviously, provided they make good on those games against smaller sides. That's a good save for themselves and Tony. Speaking of Brentford, Ivan Toney. But yeah, Brentford's survival will come down to whether they can beat the sides they're expected to beat, whether they can beat some of those sides I don't think they'll beat, and how they get on against Luton and Everton. Those 2 games in particular will be massive. So obviously they are relegation 6-pointers really. In terms of Everton, Bournemouth, Newcastle, Burnley, that could be 9 points in all honesty. I think Newcastle are beatable right now. Remains to be seen how they come back from the internationals. Chelsea, they should lose, but you never know. Forest, they should win. Liverpool, they should lose. Brentford, as I say, will come down to the wire. Luton, they will struggle in because it's at the Kenny. That's a really difficult game. Sheffield United, they should win. Arsenal, they should lose. So again, 9 points. Going to come down to how they play against Brentford and Luton. So that's the thing at the moment. Because these sides have still got to play against each other and Forest as well, of course. I think that's what it's going to come down to. Luton Town's running. Tottenham, Arsenal, both very difficult games. And they could be momentum killers because they've got to play them like the next 2 matches. They could find themselves, in the relegation zone again, a couple of points from safety. Then Bournemouth, which they should have won a few weeks ago. This one's at the Kenny though, so they've got a better chance. City, they'll lose. Brentford, it'll come down to the day, but again, it is at the Kenny. Wolves away, they should win because Wolves don't have a lot to play for. Everton at home, they should win. Again, at the Kenny. West Ham away, it would very much depend on what West Ham are up to. If they're already qualified for Europe, they might be resting up for their Europa League final. No, they'll lose to Leverkusen. And then Luton, Fulham. Luton should win that on the final day. So I think Luton might have the most points to win there. Because I think they'll beat Everton and I think they'll beat Brentford on their day. So there's some strong points to gain, and good ball in from Joe Gomez. Bellingham unable to direct that goal. So we'll just check for us as well. Just to check everyone. I mean, they play quite a nice run in actually. Palace, Fulham could both be wins. Both those sides have been a bit shaky at times this season. Both don't really have a lot to fight for. I guess Palace are still somewhat staving off relegation. Yeah, I guess it's still in the battle. Then you've got Tottenham. Difficult game. Wolves, difficult game, but could win that at home. Everton away. Again, that's going to come down to the day. City, they'll lose. Sheffield United, they'll win. Chelsea, they'll lose. Burnley, they'll win. So you can definitely start to piece together who will go down. I think it will be Brentford or Forest. I don't know. Lewis says, but next season, if Tony goes and if they stay up this season, do you think they could go down next season? Yeah, definitely. Because you've got, coming up from the Championship, at least 2 of that Ipswich, Southampton, Leeds, Leicester. And any 2 of those 4, I think would probably stay up next season. And it begs a big question as to who's actually going to go down. Because there's not going to be much room for error next season, I don't think. And actually, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Everton go down with a looming points deduction. I think Leicester could be in trouble just because they might have that points deduction. Or will have that points deduction. And obviously, it depends on how they recruit. But if Ipswich come up, I'll be very intrigued to see what they do. Obviously, they've got a lot of investment coming into the club right now. From their owners, they're putting money into the club. They've also got outside or external funding. So if they do come up, it'll be very interesting to see what Ipswich do. But yeah, I'm not sure yet how everything's going to play out. I'm very intrigued to see. Rice, Dunk, Pickford, Konza. Not a lot's happening in the first 10 minutes of the second half. Got a couple of chances at both ends. England now moving the ball forwards. Here is Chilwell. Bellingham. Foden. Back towards Jude Bellingham. Now Belgium will come forwards. Trossard. Tielemans. Plays out wide. Castagna. Trossard. Tielemans. Doku. Let's take players on. Plays 1-2 with Tielemans. Doku. It's blocked. Falls Doku again. Twisting and turning in the box. Try and draw a foul, I think, from Gomez. He's won a corner. Gomez does ground well. Lewis says, I think Everton should be safe next season if they don't lose more points. Well, so whether they're safe this season, because they're either going to lose points this or next season. Their case has been referred to the Commission, the Independent Commission. That, from what we've seen so far, is practically a points deduction. So that's going to be interesting. If Everton are if they do have further points deducted, I think they'll probably make it a harsher penalty. They do tend to do that. They'll go, extra 2 points because you've done it before. So I think it'll probably be 8 points for Everton, and that this season would see them down. Realistically, I put them below Burnley. England looking to come forwards here. Bowen bursting away. That's a great tackle from Tielemans. England has such an advantage there, such an overload, and they managed to do fuck all with it. Really indicative of our performances, really. Tiarte. Now it's Doku. I also disagree with you, Lewis, on the notion that Everton will be safe next season if they don't lose more points. I think that one spot will probably be for a side that's just come up, depending on who goes up for the playoffs. If it was to be like a Hull or West Brom, I could definitely see them struggling. Or a Norwich, or a Coventry, or even Ipswich if they don't invest well. Or even Southampton, Leeds and Leicester, so you can never say. But I think one of them will be down there. So that leaves 2 spots. And obviously they could go to the other relegated sides or, side them down. I think Fulham are going to be in trouble next season. Because I think they'll lose João Palhinha this summer, and that is the linchpin of their midfield. And they still haven't replaced Mitrovic's goals, really. I mean, they've had to rely on various petal patches like Iwobi throughout the season, Willian at times, Harry Wilson recently, Rodrigo Muniz recently, and that's not sustainable. Andres Pereira at times as well. None of those are high volume goal scorers, let alone goal scorers of any variety. They're not really replacing Mitrovic's goals. They relied too heavily on Mitrovic anyway before. Doku, ball across, it goes flashing across the box for Belgium. And England now coming away with it. Lewis says, hope Coventry go up so Villa can batter them. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah. I'm not sure we'll go down next season. We'll still have to see who goes down this season. But I think Fulham will be in the conversation. I think Brentford will be in that conversation. I'll be very surprised if Everton aren't. Because they aren't investing much in their squad. They will have the new stadium next season though, which does look quite cool. Quite Bundesliga-y. Which I'm a fan of. And, but yeah. Be interesting to see what happens next season. And who's in the fight for the title as well. Will it be the same clubs? Fight for Europe? Will Chelsea be resurgent? So much next season, but we've still got 3 months of a very exciting Premier League season to conclude now. Or 2 months, really. Best title race in years. City, Liverpool, Arsenal, all right up there. I'm very intrigued this Sunday to see what happens in the City-Arsenal game. Unfortunately, we're not streaming that, guys. Sorry to disappoint. But we'll be watching it and then we'll provide our take in our Wednesday video. But might even rush that out to Monday if we can. Probably not. But we'll see. And now a change for Belgium. Leandro Trossard off, and that is Dodi Lukebakio on his place. One of those players, Dodi, I don't remember. But Lukebakio, one of those players who was very much hyped up because of his FIFA prowess. He was a very pacey wonder kid when he came through in the Belgian leagues. Never really realised that potential. I think he's now it was at Hertha a couple of years back. I'm not sure if he is still playing for Hertha. I think because they've gone down, haven't they, Hertha? Into the Zwei Bundesliga. So where's he at now? Sevilla. Fair enough. Yeah, he went to... Was that a loan to Wolfsburg? I'm not sure. But yeah, he was at Hertha for a while. Then they went down. I guess he got his move to Sevilla then. Doesn't look like he's doing very well in the league, though. Anyway. Not long to go now. Half an hour left. Feels like ages because this game's been a little bit drab. Especially in the second half. I'm not saying the same interest we did in the Brazil game. The chat was flooded with people in the Brazil game. I think we peaked at a good 20 odd, which, well, that's not huge. It's bigger than what we've been doing on YouTube on this channel recently. So, yeah. But tonight, just not that same interest, really. Dunk. Pickford. Now Konza. The suspicious, I think that Tielemans will be done by 30 as he's played a lot of minutes. Reminds me of Rooney. Yeah, because obviously he came through and played a lot of football for Anderlecht. And we saw last season he struggled a bit with injuries. I wouldn't be surprised, especially he strikes me as the kind of guy to take a big payday. MLS, Saudi, something like that. And that's a great opportunity for England. Bowen there, just putting it straight at sales. Good football though from England. A lovely exchange of passes. Switching from left to right. Found Joe Gomez, I think it was. Yeah, Joe Gomez in a bit of space. Bursting to that right hand side, that right wide space. Plays it back towards Bowen. It doesn't come to anything. But now England left a little bit fragile. Chilwell recovering back well. England will hold on to the ball. Dunk. Chilwell. But yeah. I agree with you there with Tielemans. I think the same could be true for Rashford. I think Rashford's pretty much guaranteed to go to MLS. Loves the positive image stuff, doesn't he? And the work he could do over there with gun laws, I think would be huge. And that would really boost his brand and stuff like that. And I don't think he's going to be a very capable footballer, given a lot of his game revolves around his pace and his ability to take players on 1v1 because he's quicker than them. I think, as we saw with players like Michael Owen and Fernando Torres, players that peaked sort of 18 to 26, I think those type players, because they rely on their pace, because they burst through so early, do end up having much shorter careers. And I think we'll see that with Marcus Rashford. He's already showing signs of decline. He's 24, for Christ's sake. That's not a great sign, is it? I think we're obviously the same for all of Barca's kids. I mean, look at Ansu Fati. At 18, he was on top of the world. You know, the world of football was at his feet, praising how good he was. Now, he can't get a minute for Brighton because he's just not there. He got injured because they overplayed him. They'll do the same to Yamal. They'll probably do the same to Pau Kavasi. They'll probably do the same to Hector Fort. And they'll probably do the same to so many others. When are Barcelona going to learn? Stop wasting La Masia talents, please. Incredible players. We've seen that. Look at Kavasi's performance in the Champions League. He kept one of the most potent strikers in all of Europe in Victor Osimhen completely quiet. And I really hope he gets a chance to blossom into a fantastic centre-half. By the way, Doku's causing us more issues here. Plays it across Lukaku. Thank God Lukaku has gone back to being Lukaku because that was a garish miss. Lewis says, well, he'd be good in the MLS as it's not that good a league. I think we'll see the MLS blossom as well. That's my bold take. A lot of discourse about the Saudi Pro League, whether it could become a top 10 league or whatever that means. It can't. You can't buy a loyal audience, a fan base, a passionate fan base. What you can do, though, is create one in an area that loves sports. Kobe Mainu goes close for England. Falls to Tony Mainu. And then it's cleared away by Belgium. And there's a claim there from England for a penalty. But as I was saying, I think in the US, with the World Cup in 26... with the Copa America 24, then you've got the Club World Cup in 25, World Cup 26. That's a whole lot of international football and huge different tournaments out there. No penalty, by the way, for England. And that's going to drive interest. And I think as association football is pushed out more and more there, I think there will start to be a shift in the focus. because I think there is more money. There's more potential for investors in association football than there is in American football. American football is very popular right now, but I think a lot of people switch. I could see a culture change there, especially given there are a lot of people at the moment talking about. There's a lot of discourse at the moment about the risks of high contact sports like American football, and I think that the US could be primed to, or association football could be primed to take over there. But I guess we'll see. Lewis says, if I built a league, I would have built it slowly, given the teams similar enough money to compete, says Lewis. Well, J-League. J-League's probably the best example of a league doing something like that. J-League founded in 2000. Not a lot of people will care because, you know, they didn't spend loads of money, bring in loads of talent. They didn't sign Wayne Rooney. But what they did do is focus on young talent. So I think there's rules that you have to have a certain amount of young players per season. You've got to have a certain amount of young talent in your squad per game. So that's a really positive sign. And look what it's done. Look what the Japan national side was 20 years ago. And look what they are now. It's a stark contrast. You've got a side now who look tactically disciplined, because that's another thing they did, was invest in coaching. Not only at youth level, but also at J-League level. And because there was always such a strong culture of a sport there in Japan, but they never really had anywhere to direct it. You know, they had an F1 race. They weren't great at rugby, weren't great at football, but they really focused the government on football. You know, it drove more and more people to push to play football. And look at the impact it's had, not only actually on the men's game, but on the women's game as well. We're seeing so many Asian and specifically Japanese players making their way into the WSL now as scouting increases over there. So, yeah, Japan have nailed it. That's how you build a league. It's not, let's go and spend loads of money, which is what the Americans, what the Saudis do. Because they've got loads of money. So they think, well, what can we do? Let's spend money. That's the only way you solve issues, right? But yeah. Palmer is warming up, by the way. Hopefully we see him come on. I mean, there's 22 minutes left. So he's going to get 20 at best now. Bowen brings down the edge, takes aim, it's blocked wide. I'd also say that we are playing an international game in March and Southgate is not subbing players off. Lewis says, I think the barrier with the USA in football is that players have to pay to join an academy, so it restricts the amount of Americans. Yeah, and there's no lower league systems, is there? What they've got to do in America, the problem is now, because you've set it up as this franchise shit, like you have with the NFL, it means you've very much restricted it to unique sides and stuff like that. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, you've taken away the essence of football. What makes it so good is that anyone can play it. But there are no lower league divisions in the US because there isn't enough funding there. There's not enough interest, really. And while that will change, there's no pyramid, there's none of that. So what's the point? I mean, for the top sides, it's just you've got the draft and stuff like that, or the players come out of uni like they do in the NFL. But I don't know. I feel like there's so much potential there. It's such a large country. You've got the biggest talent pool in the world, bar China and India. But they're not investing in their football because they've got so many other industries. I did try football and then got bored of that quite quickly. Tiate. And there is a foul in there. But yeah. Also, there's no relegation. Well, exactly that, Lewis. There's no jeopardy. What's the point? You know, you've only got winners. That's the problem. I find a lot of American sports. A lot of Americans don't like Americans. A lot of Americans don't like European sports because they like their American sports. They love the fact that it's American. But there's no losers in America. Everyone wins, at least in their sports. I mean, they'd like that. They pretend like that's the case in the broader world, but it's not. People do lose. Everyone loses. But in sport, everyone wins. No, you can't lose. Tiate coming off, by the way, and it'll be Thomas Meunier on in his place. And Astor Ranks is coming on as well, so he'll slot into midfield in place of Yuri Tielemans. A brace for the Belgian tonight for the Villa midfielder. And, very good performance from him. Hopefully he takes that to his club form for Villa fans. That says, who'd you bring in if you were Southgate? Or who'd you bring on, sorry, if you were Southgate? Sorry, I just misread your question, Daz. Cole Palmer, because he's a brilliant footballer and you've taken him to the England squad. You called him up to the England squad and had him fucking 9 minutes. Who are we bringing on? James Maddison. Okay. He should have started, really, tonight. Asher Palmer. Anyway, here's Donny Lukebakio, currently taking Chilwell to the cleaners. He's doing it again for fun. Cuts it back. Mangala plays it on the edge to Timothée Castagna. And his effort leaves a lot to be desired. De Bast tries to play out to Lukebakio, but this time Chilwell is alert to what's going on. It's a friendly, by the way. We are 1 goal down. We have loads of players that have played loads of minutes this season. We could give them a bit of rotation, like Rice, Bellingham. Just played a full 90 today, and last game. Oh, Foden. Instead, we are watching the same players play. Southgate is tiring out his squad, and players like Cole Palmer don't even get looking. So that's good. Dunk. Now is Riconza. I hope tonight is no indication of who will play at the Euros or how we're going to play at the Euros. Maybe we're fooling everyone by playing Dunk and looking shit. Chilwell. It's a master stroke from Southgate. He picked all the crap players. Then we get to the Euros and he picks the good ones. And that would be full 180. Declan Rice. Now Bellingham. Bowen. Now he can't get through traffic there. Gomez. Now it's 1 back by Belgium. Great tackle that from Jude Bellingham. And then it's a bit scrappy, but Belgium come away with the ball. Doku wants to take players for a spin. I mean, he's thrown himself on the floor there and hasn't got anything from it. Lewis Bush says, do you think Bellingham could also be one of the players that are done by 30 of the minutes that he's playing? I think so. The issue, well, it very much depends on how Bellingham's game develops. If he continues to be this box-crashing, box-to-box, high-energy, high-sprint player, then yeah, I think he'll be in trouble. Because that's not sustainable, really, for more than a 10-year career. In which case, by 28, he's going to be struggling. But if he does this type role for a few years, where he's absolutely everywhere on a pitch, he's scoring goals, but he's also making tackles, he's playing everywhere, and then he sort of moulds into a more defensive midfield player, that could definitely sustain him long term, and maybe in those latter years we'll see him play that role. But like Hakan Çalhanoğlu, that's someone who's always been known as a real technical, creative player, and into the system has been used as a deep line playmaker, and he's really suited to that role. But yeah. Kobe Mainoo off, by the way, and it's James Maddison on. 15 minutes to play. Maddison, lovely ball through to Foden. Plays it, cuts it back, looking from Bowen, doesn't exactly come off. And now Lukaku is giving Dunk more issues. He wasn't doing it, he just stood there. Dunk was panicking. Rice. Jude Bellingham. Plays out wide, Chilwell. So Jude playing a deeper role now, which I'll be intrigued to see how he does, because I'm not sure if he is a 10. He just does well there for Real, but I think he might be better playing a deeper role for England, given our abundance of attacking midfielders. Maddison, Chilwell, Bellingham, Rice. Now it's with Joe Gomez. Looks towards Bowen, but he's over at the pass. Shock. This second half has been really painful to watch as an England fan. And I think even if you look at it from a neutral perspective, it's been a shit second half of football. Really not fun. How are the other games going then? Let's have a little update. So, obviously Georgia are through to the Euros. It is Ukraine 1, Iceland 1. Viktor Sykankov, the Girona player, levelling them up there. And Wales 0, Poland 0. So both those games at the moment going beyond the 90. As did obviously Georgia, Greece earlier. Georgia going through. Still not established what group they're going to be playing in, but someone else who knows what they're doing will work that out. I hope. Daz asked, do we know which English refs will go to the Euros venue? We can make a strong prediction that Anthony Taylor's going to be there, that Michael Oliver's going to be there, and that'll be it. I think. We don't really have any others that are on UEFA's books, do we? Don't think there's any others that... Basically, anyone who refs Champions League games, Daz. So Taylor, Oliver from England. We'll have like the... they're just the little man. Clement Turpin. People like that. Lewis says, first half was good, but yeah, the second half is terrible. It's just unwatchable. You know, Belgium have clearly won. Or don't really care about scoring more goals. England are crap. Here's Docky. This England team are, sorry. England as in general are good. And we will be good at the Euros. Positive mindset. Manifest it. But, yeah, no, we're not very good today. Dunk's not very good. Refs in England are terrible, says Lewis. I completely agree with you. I think Taylor is a disgrace to the profession. I don't really have an issue with Michael Oliver. I know Arsenal fans hate him for some reason. They think he's biased. But I don't really think there are biased refs. I think that's a thing. They're just crap ones. Like, yeah, there's weird patterns. Like, oh, Taylor's always terrible. You know, gives shit decisions against Chelsea. But I think that's just a mere coincidence. But equally, as a ref, once you've had a problem with a team once, you tend to have problems with them forever. Like, we'll get refs even at the level I coach at under 16s, where there'll be a ref, and because they've refed the game earlier in the season, where your number 20s punch someone, they'll be looking for that. And they'll be looking to book you early on. But, yeah. Here's Meunier. Ball in from Luca Bacchio, and that is not very good. Well, at least there's a Mexican wave going on at Wembley. Something positive. Bit of movement. But yeah. I think that's what Dunk was trying to join in with when he gave the ball away for Belgium's second. Did a bit of that, didn't he? Anyway. Gomez. Maddison. Bowen, he does really well. Touch up past the defender, still going. Jared Bowen, lovely stuff. Here's Phil Foden, should score, and that's just wide. Tries just to drill it to the far post. Lovely football. This is brilliant from Bowen. A lovely touch in there. Good dribble. Shifts it at the right time to Foden, and that is really unfortunate for England. But that's very positive football. Very good stuff. I think Bowen's showing tonight that he should be the understudy to Saka on that right flank. Lewis Bush says, what's the point of VAR if they still make terrible decisions? Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think the issue is VAR. I think it's very useful. The problem is, one, the rules aren't written very well. Like, I think offside is too tight for VAR. For me, I completely agree with the UEFA shift of it. And people say, stop messing with our game. Oh, yeah, because all the rules are perfect, aren't they? Clive from Tooting. But I look at the offside rule and I think if you are entirely past the last defender, that's an advantage. Being level is not. So we're just cutting down goals in the game by not allowing that. Then we just add them up by stupid pens. I mean, that's the other thing. Things like, I don't know how you change it, but the handball rules so ambiguous. Even fouls are difficult to see. Because is there enough contact in there? How do you measure that without having players like in full suits where you can measure every bit of contact on their body? How do you do any of that? Two changes, by the way. It is Ollie Watkins on for Ivan Toney. Bit of Southgate impact now. And Anthony Gordon on for Jared Bowen as well, because what should we do when we need a goal? Let's take off one of our best players of the game. Really good tackle as well from Amadou Onana there to stop Gordon bursting down the line. 10 minutes to play here. Is there hope of England finding an equaliser? Maybe even a winner from there, who knows? But it's James Maddison on the ball now. Chilwell. Yeah, I think VAR is useful. It just needs to be operated by people who have some idea what they're doing. I mean, you look at it being used in Serie A, La Liga, by competent officials, and it works. The problem isn't VAR, it's the people using it. Bellingham. Ball in, headed away by Castagna. And then Alfred kicked away by Dodi Luca Bacchio. An acrobatic way to deal with the ball on the edge of the area. Or even just do what they did with Qatar with the ball. Do you know why we can't do that, Lewis? It's because of Nike. So that's the problem, Lewis. We spoke about this actually at the start of the season because this was something that was brought up. Is that the reason we can't have that technology is Nike haven't developed it. And we have Nike balls in the Premier League. It's Adidas that developed that technology and they've worked with FIFA to do that. So we can't get Adidas balls because the Premier League has signed in with a deal with Nike until 2025. So I think next season we have Nike again. If we get Adidas after that, then we could implement the automatic offsides. Because it's something in the ball, isn't it, that measures where it is. Again, don't do anything with Nike. They're just not good. I don't get why anyone would prefer Nike to Adidas. And their kits are so much worse. You've just got to look at the Euros range to see that Adidas have produced all absolute bangers. And while there are some good Nike shirts out there, I just think Adidas is so much better. As a Chelsea fan, I hate Nike. They give us the shittest. I mean, if you send the one leaked for next season, it's just crap. I don't know why they feel like they can always fuck up our shirt. Also, fun time because Michy Batshuayi is coming up, and that is always a good time. So About Face has come on, so we should get a goal now. And Lukaku off for Michy Batshuayi. Ukraine 2, Iceland 1 goal from Mihailo Mudryk, set up by Georgi Sudakov. I mean, that's what we love to see, isn't it? Mudryk linking up with another target of ours. And we want to sign Sudakov for 60 million, which seems really like we've not learned from our mistakes. Lewis Bush says just stupid. Yeah, I know. But for Nike won't develop the technology. Oh, that was crap. I'm sorry. Chills throw it to Madison, who then just kicked off the pitch. Yes, I'm well there to win the ball on a throw there, and now England in possession. Foden, Madison. And he's been brought down there by Asta Ranks. Not a lot in it, but yeah. Lewis Bush says, Villa have got Castoria in there, just a bit meh. No, Castoria, tragic, Lewis. I don't know if you're being paid by Castore, because I think a bit meh is probably the best form of compliment they can receive. They're terrible. The designs aren't necessarily offensive, they're just a bit dull. And the kit quality is awful. We've seen it with so many examples this season of their kits just being ripped apart in games. We saw it recently with Newcastle in the FA Cup. Lewis Miley's shirt got ripped. I think it was the same for... I think Ezri Konza had a similar issue in a recent Villa game. His kit just got pulled and it completely fell apart. I hate Castore, useless. And they charge so much for their F1 stuff as well. They've got an exclusive with, I think with Red Bull. Well, there are a lot of, I think there was a lot of F1 teams, to be fair. I think they're with McLaren as well. Maybe all of them. Can't remember. But yeah, and again, they make crap, boring stuff and charge loads of money for it, and it's not very good quality. But yeah. Daz says, what games are you doing this weekend, if any? I don't think we're doing any, unfortunately, Daz. We did want to do the Arsenal City game. Unfortunately, though, it clashes with the Conti Cup final in the women's game, so that is a shame. But we will be live on that channel if you want to join us. Live on the Women's Football Chat from 2:30. So yeah, very excited for that this Sunday, though, so I'm not too gutted to be missing the Arsenal City game. We're still going to watch it afterwards. We're not going to stream it. So we'll give our verdicts on the game in our video next week. Lewis says, well, they had a sweat issue. Well, that's amateur hour. They had that with the Villa kits, which obviously meant the women's players were very concerned about that for valid reasons. So, yeah. 5 minutes to go. You think England will be going for a goal, but we're giving it back to Pickford. He's probably going to kick it to their striker. Let's see. What will Jordan Pickford do? Oh, he has gone short. Now, Bellingham. I'm not sure. I think I know what he's trying to do there. Didn't pull it off, though. Looking for Chilwell. And Chilwell's now caught out of position. Shock. And Luka Bacchio got away from him. Should have kept going there because he's going to get fouled eventually. Bellingham. Carrying the ball forwards for England. Now Gordon. Maddison. Nice turn. It's pulled back though for a foul on Bellingham as England lose the possession. Lukaku just catching Jude there. Konza, Gomez, Foden. England starlet darts it inside, gives it to Rice. Now it's with Maddison. Foden again. Ball in from Gomez. It comes off Gordon's arse. It's fallen to Chilwell, who's ran into a footballer. And now Belgium coming the other way. Franks into Batshuayi. I love seeing Batshuayi. He just appears every now and then, doesn't he? I remember seeing a couple of weeks ago just beating up Turkish people. And yeah. Lewis Bush says, well, last year's Villa shirt is now £15. Are they selling them off, are they? Last year's? Not a bad price, to be fair. It does make sense, though. So with people that either didn't get a shirt last year and want to complete a collection, there'll be people that can't really afford this year's kit, but if they've got young enough kids, it doesn't really matter which version you buy. Makes sense just to sell dead stock rather than hoard it, I guess. And Castore, or Castore, however you say it, need all the money they can get. Because I don't think their football operation hasn't really been successful. They were in cycling, weren't they, I think? Or swimming, something like that. And they've come across now into motorsport and football because they've realised they're much more lucrative markets. But I think they've realised you have to put so much money into manufacturing a kit to be a good quality and to be a reputable brand and to get much bigger shirts sponsoring. Manufacturing, sorry. Bellingham. Not Bellingham. Gomez. Don't know why I've had that problem so many times this evening. Here's Phil Foden. Here's Jude Bellingham. Trying to fashion a shot and it's blocked. Here's Rice. Running back to his own goal. Goes all the way back to Pickford. Now it's Konza. Rice. Maddison. Foden. Coming forwards, Phil Foden. Now Joe Gomez. Ball in. Stopped by Wout Face. Doku. And that's a really good tackle from Maddison went out the pitch. Phil Foden, his shot's blocked. He goes down the box. That's pathetic. And that's cleared away for an England throw. Did Cole Palmer come on? No, Chelsea fan. What a waste of time. He could have been at Chelsea, playing, working with Parks, working with the team that's left there that haven't gone away on international duty. That'd have been a really good use of his time. Instead, Southgate took him to this England camp for absolutely no reason. Absolutely no reason. Jelly in the squad. Yeah, he hasn't played any bloody minutes. I don't mind as a Chelsea fan for the fact that he won't be injured, won't be tired, but what's the point? It would have been nice to see him get a kit. Get some minutes, sorry. Lewis says, this year's normal shirt is only £35. So the kid's being 20. Really? From Castore? Wow. That is ridiculously cheap. Ridiculously incredible stuff. Yeah, that's true. Is that... Oh, I guess they're reduced prices now, aren't they, though? What do they retail at the start of the season? Let's have a look on the Castore website. Yeah, everything's down. Newcastle third shirt's down from 70 to 21. So yeah, they were doing it at the normal price. They're not a great company. They make lower quality shirts and charge the same prices as Nike and Adidas. 4 minutes of additional time. Loving the new added time graphic. I hope you guys are as well. We've got a timer now that will run on into past the 90. And it'll add a time graphic to go alongside it. It's on the Villa website, says Lewis Bush. Yeah, it's a discounted price, isn't it? That's what I'm saying. If they retailed at that, then that's great. That'll be really progressive, actually, in the kit market. But obviously, everyone's in it just to earn money, and we're at a point now where you can charge £85 for a football shirt, plus printing. It's ludicrous. Batshuayi. Jeremy Doku. Doku plays it across, and Dudley Gavacchio slipped over. If not, that should have been 3-1 Belgium. I mean, we just got carved open too easily. We saw this in the other game as well. Our rest defence is shocking. I know we're pushing for a goal at this point, but it's 2-on-3 in Belgium's favour, 3-on-2. And, I mean, that Lewis Jackson fucking embarrassing as well tonight. Guess I was right last time. Yeah, you got the score right, mate. I didn't think we were going to be this bad. Really didn't. There was so much hope going into the Euros. Ball in behind. Watkins isn't going to beat Vertonghen in the air. Crazy. We've spent the first half playing it nice and tidy when we've got a lump up there in Tony that can actually challenge the ball, and now we're lumping it up there when we have Watkins. Make of that what you will. Madison. And it's face of Ranks. Clears it away. Now it's with Ben Chilwell. Madison tries to find Foden. And that's really good pressing from Bellingham, but cleared away by Wout Face. Lewis says, to be honest, I don't really care about the shirt as I'll get the odd one, but I don't see the point of getting a current year shirt that's £80. Yeah, that's fair enough. I completely get that. I think especially with the current, financial economic status in the UK, I think that's a ridiculous price. I'll still fork out every year, but I guess I can justify it because of TFC. Yeah, I do think the pricing, especially this season, is extortionate. They've really just... I think a lot of people will push to second-hand and stuff like that this year, unfortunately. I understand it, but for the clubs it doesn't help. That the manufacturers are getting greedier and greedier every year. For the fans, it certainly doesn't help. Does do you think we can win the group? Equally, I guess prices are pushed up by the clubs, so you can't really blame the manufacturers. Because the clubs are probably charging more. It's a foul there on... I think there's a foul from Madison on a Belgian player. Dan says, do you think we can win the group? At the Euros, God, we should piss it. We should piss it. Denmark, Serbia, Slovenia. 9 points. Thank you very much. On into the round of 16. We shouldn't even need to play the final group game. Like, no disrespect to that group. But we should have no issues. Denmark are the toughest opponent. We may well draw that on matchday 2. Wouldn't be surprised. But we should have no issues against Serbia first game. We should have no issues against Slovenia third game. So, yeah. We should have the group does. And by a healthy goal difference margin. I'd like to hope. If we don't top the group, big panic stations, worries, we are in trouble. But we should top the group. It's not be like the last Euros where we had Scotland and our fiasco. Them celebrating a 0-0. Anyway. Thanks for everyone else tuned in this evening. It's not been the usual crowd we get on here, but it's been nice to chat with the people who have turned up. As I say, we're not live this weekend, but we are back soon. England have scored, Jude Bellingham. Well, at least we come away with this with a draw. Late on, Southgate pumping his fist, everyone running around, cameras going mental. It is just a friendly, but we will take that. Absolutely, we will take that. Well, England win the Euros again, guys. Don't worry. Ignore everything I've said, because Southgate's at the wheel. Tell me how it feels. It's incredible, doesn't it? We're going to win the Euros. Confirmed. Big draw. Oh, and Jude Bellingham's really good, by the way. In case anyone didn't know. He's really good. Good finish from Jude. Good win. Well, good draw for England. And we're going to press them really high here and act like we're going to get a third. And there we go. That's full time. England 2, Belgium 2. Good stuff for the Three Lions in the end. We played pretty crap. That says half time. We played pretty crap. We didn't really, I guess. We just conceded crap goals. Player of the match, Yuri Tielemans. He scored 2 goals, so who else? Who else is going to get player of the match? And yeah, not bad. I'll take a draw. The goals we considered were crap. The players that we played were crap. But I think we can take some solace from the fact that Lewis Dunk should never play for England at the Euros. So we don't need to worry too much about that. Thanks everyone that has joined me this evening for the stream. We're back for next time. I think our next stream is next Sunday. I can't think of one before then. So next Sunday, I think, which is a while away, admittedly, but we will be back soon. Maybe next Thursday, actually. Yeah, I think it's next Thursday. Chelsea Man United, I want to say. Thursday the 4th of April. So you've got a week to wait, but we will be back very soon on your screens. And if you are, of course, a fan of the women's game, we are live tomorrow night for Chelsea Ajax in the Champions League. We're live Sunday for the Country Cup final. Sorry, we're live Saturday for Liverpool City. We're live Sunday for the Country Cup final between Chelsea and Arsenal. That's everything for today. I'm going to have to sign off as I do this. So thank you guys very, very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.